Okay, let's start with the first question. It is a graph question. I think there's some error with the numbering now, so just find this correct question. Now, on drawing of a graph, as mentioned, quite a lot of marks allocated to it. It is something that doesn't take a lot of effort to score all the marks required. So when you are drawing the graph, we will allocate 1 mark to the correct scale. So if your scale looks like this, 2 cm to 1 unit on the horizontal axis, as well as 1 cm to 1 unit on the vertical axis, you get 1 mark already. Of course, this is assuming that the question wants you to draw from scratch. Sometimes the question already has the graph, the axis drawn for you. Sometimes they provide the scale drawn for you already. So you don't get to earn that easy 1 mark. Nevertheless, it is still easy for us to obtain the next 1 mark from the table of values. So from the table of values, x negative 3, y is 6, negative 3, 6, you show the cross. You use a cross to mark out a point. You do not ever use a dot to indicate a point. Okay? Very simple instructions. Use crosses. Do not use dots. And turns out every year there will still be some people who use dots. So to add minus mark. So using all the crosses, the next point, negative 2 and 5. So there are a total of 4 points that we can see over here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. How the marker marks will be, we use a piece of transparent sheet. We mark out the points, and then we just put it on top of your paper. So there are like so many of your papers, right? We just put and check, put and check. If you are inaccurate, if your point is off by a little, it is very obvious because we are comparing it to our standard. So make sure you do it correctly. And thereafter, draw a straight line. Bring a 30 cm long ruler to draw the straight line, joining everything. Yes. Huh? You mean if the teacher is wrong, is it? No, it won't be the case. We will ensure that it is correct. So that will give us a total of 3 marks. And please label as well. In this case, it is called line L. We don't know the equation. Now, B part 1. Find the value of x when y is equal to 4. Y equals to 4 refers to level 4. So on our graph, we draw level 4. This is the line for y equals to 4, level 4. And we see where it intersects our line. In this case, it is over here. There is a point of intersection here. So find out what its block is. It is a block negative 1, indicating that x has a value of negative 1. Next, find the value of y when x is equal to 1. So this time they're telling you that it is at block 1 and find its corresponding level. X refers to our block, so block 1. Okay, we find that, okay, this guy is staying on level 2, meaning y equals to 2. So not difficult. If you are familiar with the x and y, what they all look like. X will be vertical lines. Y equals 2 will be horizontal lines. If you can do that, you don't have to think about blocks and levels anymore. Next is to find the gradient of line L. To find the gradient, we require the rise over run. So choose any 2 convenient points on your graph. There are many points that you can choose. The bigger the triangle, the better it is. So for me, I will choose, for example, this point, as well as this point. I have to rise from the bottom to the top. Nobody rises from top to bottom. Although this sounds like very obvious things to say, you have to rise from bottom to top. Turns out there always will be people who try and rise from the top and they are stuck. They do not know how to rise downwards. Okay, what's the temperature? Okay, down to the general office. Rise from the bottom up. 1, sorry, 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, 4, 5, 6 units up, 6 units. That is your rise. And now we are going to run to the left. Why to the left? Because the point is on the left. So we run to the left and we count the number of units. This time, 2 units, 2 cm represents 1 unit. So you have to be very careful about the scale. 1 unit, 2 units, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. Run equals to 6 units. However, we are running to the left. To the left is negative. So we put a negative sign. Therefore, our gradient is rise, which is 6, over the run, which is negative 6, giving us negative 1. Now, you would have most likely used other points. Or if you use the formula, y2 minus 1, 1 over x2 minus x1, doesn't matter. All our workings likely to be different. By coincidence, some of your working may be the same. But the final answer should be the same for everybody, which is negative 1. That is the gradient. The part 2 says to write down the equation of line L. This line L that we first drew we didn't have the equation. And now they're asking us to find the equation. We know that for a straight line, the equation always looks like this. Y equals to mx plus c. It is standard. We need to know the m refers to gradient, which we have found to be negative 1 times x. But it is stupid to write negative 1 times x, isn't it? We just write y equals to negative x. So now this takes care of the gradient of negative 1 already. We need to plus c. What is the c value? This refers to the y-intercept. So can you see from the graph what your y-intercept is? No calculation required. Can you see where the line cuts the y-axis? Right here, 3. So y equals to negative x plus 3. No calculation required. Instant answer. Once you know the gradient, you can look at the graph where the intercept is. So y equals to negative x plus 3. Now for part 3, write down the coordinates at which the line L cuts the x-axis. Cuts means to intersect. Where does it intersect the x-axis? So definitely, you need to know that this line over here is known as the x-axis. Where does it cut? It cuts here. It cuts over here. They are asking for the coordinates. So, I mean, we're all visual creatures. We look at it, we know it cuts over there. But what are the coordinates? Coordinates will have 2 parts. The first is the x coordinate followed by the y coordinate. The x coordinate referring to the block. When you go to somebody's house, you go to the block first. Then you go to the level. So which block does this guy stay at? It stays at block 3. What level does he stay on? He stays at level 0. So the coordinates will be 3, 0, not the other way around. For the part 1, by completing the table of values, okay, so we're going to do substitution over here. For the range, x ranges from negative 3 to 1. So we need to use the endpoints, negative 3 and 1. In the middle, what is convenient to you? What will you choose? Negative? What will you choose? There are easy answers. There are more difficult options. What is the easiest? Negative 1, is that really the easiest? Any other suggestions? 0? Yeah, I think 0 is much easier, isn't it? So I'm going to choose 0 over here, put in the values. So negative 3 times negative 3, that's 9, minus 1, I get 8. Now 0, so we have negative 1, otherwise known as the y-intercept. Okay, next, when we have 1 as our x value, we've got negative 3 minus 1, we've got negative 4. 8, negative 1, negative 4. Let's see what this teacher chose. Oh, wow, exactly the same. Okay, so as you can see, we expect you to use the 2 endpoints. If there is a range given to you, you use the 2 endpoints. Whatever is in the middle, choose something that is most convenient. If you chose 1, you chose half, you will still get a correct answer, but is that the most convenient for you? So now, 3 points, negative 3, 8. So negative 3, 8. We've got one x over here. Sorry, one cross. Another one at the y-intercept here. And finally, one last point, drawing with a straight line. And they tell us to write down the gradient of this line. To write down the gradient, there's no calculation involved. You can do a rise over run if you want to, but you're just wasting your time. When they say write down, they don't expect you to do any calculation. We can obtain the gradient from the equation straight away. Y equals to mx plus c. Y equals to mx plus c. They are of the same format. So the gradient, meaning the m value, is the coefficient of x. The gradient is negative 3. No calculation required. See and write answer straight away. If the question asks for it, which they didn't, write y-intercept. What is the y-intercept? Clearly, y-intercept equals to negative 1. If they say write coordinates of y-intercept, then your answer will be block 0, level negative 1. So these are two other types of common questions that they can ask you based on the equation of the graph. Next is to write down the coordinates of the point of intersection. Where do the two graphs intersect? Here, this is where they intersect. And the coordinates start with the x value, negative 2, y value, 5. Not difficult at all. And finally, find the area of the triangle bounded by the line L, the graph that you drew. So basically the two graphs and y equals to negative 2. So we need to identify where y equals to negative 2 is. So y equals to negative 2 is our horizontal line over here. What is the area bounded by this horizontal line, this diagonal line, as well as this line? Can you see the triangle first? Cannot see triangle, then cannot find area, right? So this is our triangle. What is the formula for area of a triangle? Half base perpendicular height. So where is the base for this triangle? Starts from here to here. This is our base. And our perpendicular height over here. Take note that the scale is different, yes? Why are you standing at the back there? I cannot hear you. Then you come to the front and ask that. Yes, you may. So take note of the scale, which is different for perpendicular axis and the vertical axis and the horizontal axis. And you will get the area to be 16.1 square units. Okay, the next question over here. We have a solid machine part. This is known as a prism. Prism, where the cross-sectional area is constant. It's a uniform cross-sectional area. So this is made of a trapezium with a vertical height of 4 cm and a semicircular hollow radius 3 cm that is cut out. So this portion being 3 cm. Vertical 4 cm, find the area of the cross section. So A part 1. A part 1, where's my A part 1? Okay, over here. 37.9. Does anybody need me to go through A part 1? Anybody? No, huh? Then find the volume of the solid machine part. If you are able to get A part 1, then part 2 is not difficult because all we need to do is to just multiply the answer by 28. And you get the answer for the volume. Total surface area. So just a quick recap. Total surface area. Will be 2 times of the cross-sectional area. Cross-sectional area we found in A part 1, so 37.9, blah, 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 5 SF. We need to add. By the way, this 37.9, I'm going to shade it out for you. Over here, that is one of it. And another one at the back. So we've got the two ends, the two cross-sectional areas at the ends settled already. Okay, but over here, please use your 5SF. Now, we need to add the rest of the faces. We've got two slanted surfaces. We've got one flat surface at the bottom. We've got two flat surfaces at the top, and I have one curved surface. If I add everything up separately, it takes a very long time, and you are doing repeated work. Where is the repeated work? Let's take a look at the first slanted area. For example, this rectangle. How do we find this area? We are going to take 5 multiplied by 28. How are we going to find the next area? For example, at the bottom, we are going to take 16 multiplied by 28 again. The other slanted surface will again be, they didn't say, 16 to, okay, this should be 5 as well. This surface, again, 5 times 28 again. The top rectangle, 2 cm times 28. 2 cm times 28. You see the repeated work of multiplying by 28. So instead of doing that, we are going to take the perimeter. We're going to add all these things up. The perimeter of the cross-section. Once you have added everything up, we're simply going to multiply that by 28 to get all the remaining areas. Isn't that much faster? So here we have, open bracket, we've got a 5 cm, 16 cm, plus another 5 cm, plus a 2, plus a 2, plus the curve. So this curve, half times of the circumference, half times of pi, d, diameter is 6. And with this, we're going to multiply this by 28. So this is the formula for total surface area of a prism. Always front back, that is 2 times of cross-section, plus perimeter of cross-section times perpendicular height. So that should give us 1180 square centimeters. But the cost of painting the solid, if the cost used per square meter is $7, so just do a conversion. Now, 1180 square centimeters equals to how many square meters? To do this conversion, first, you ignore. This is what I tell my other students also. You ignore the square over here. It becomes a question that you can easily do in primary school. How do you go from 1180 cm to meters? Do you multiply or do you divide? Multiply or divide? This one you have to know. You have to be confident. Are we going to multiply or divide? Multiply. Multiply. Hey, what is your height in cm? 16 something. Yeah, 16 something, right? In cm. Let's say 160 cm. If somebody asks you for your height in meters, are you going to say, oh, my height is 160 cm times 100? To get what? 160, 16,000 meters. How can it be? So the logical answer is to divide by 100, isn't it? 160 divided by 100, you get 1.6 meters. So here we are going to divide by 100. Now look, this is a case for converting cm to meters, but the question says square cm to square meters. Therefore, we need to include a square for the division of 100. So 1180 divided by 100 square, you get 0.118. And they further tell you that, hey, 1 square meter, $7. How about this? Calculate yourself. Surely you can get the answer. Next, in part C. Okay, now I realized that I didn't go through this particular question. This is, by the way, the answers are all uploaded onto Google Classroom. So what I want in class is actually your attention, not to copy and not listen. Because you can copy at home. Actually, you can also watch the video at home, but don't waste time. Just listen now. Okay, part A, I don't think there'll be a problem for the 5 degrees. List two quadrilaterals. Quadrilaterals are four-sided figures with two equal acute angles, two equal obtuse angles. So we've got parallelogram and rhombus. So how is a square different from a rhombus? A square has four right angles. Square has four right angles. A rhombus doesn't have four right angles. Then what is the similarity between a square and a rhombus? They all have four equal sides. Am I going too fast? No. Okay. Perimeter of a semicircle. Question 3. Okay, I'll show you the. Just do the get answer. 23.1 cm. Anybody needs to go through? No. Next one. Given the shaded area is 64.25 BC. So basically find the height of this rectangle. The height is 3.60 cm. This is the height, BC. Does anybody need me to go through? No. Okay. I hope you used algebra for this. Instead of your primary school, find area, then area minus area equal to area of rectangle. Then the area of rectangle divided by diameter equals to answer. I hope that wasn't what you did. I hope you used algebra. Although you get the same answer lah. Okay, next one. And we probably have to stop here already. Question 6. Let you copy the. Let you check your answer. Okay, the first A part 1. 744 square centimeters. Anybody needs me to go through? 744 square centimeters. Zoom in. It's on maximum already. 744. Anybody got it wrong and don't understand why? Then I will go through. Got it wrong? Okay. So for the total surface area, we've got the formula again, 2 times of the cross-sectional area. So the cross-sectional area is the shaded part. The shaded area is found by area of trapezium minus area of the circle. So area of trapezium, half times 14 plus 8 times 10. That is area of trapezium first. Okay, so half 8 plus 14 times 10. This is area of trapezium. Then we're going to minus away the area of the circle, pi r square. This is area of circle. Okay, so far? So we have an answer in terms of pi because we want to keep it as exact as we can. Next, we need the perimeter of the cross section. Because once we have the shaded region, we're going to multiply by 2. Then after that, we need to add the perimeter of the shaded region. So where is the perimeter? Outline it. Did you outline it? I told you all to outline before, right? Then some of you think very lame lah. You can see the perimeter, what? But did you forget the circle? This is the perimeter. It includes the circle. If you don't outline the circle, then you're not going to get a correct answer. So perimeter of this is going to be 5 plus 14 plus another 5 plus 8 plus 2 pi times 3. So this is the outline of the trapezium. And this is the outline for the circle. So this is our perimeter. The formula will be 2 times the cross-sectional area. Sorry, 2 times the cross-sectional area over here added to the perimeter times the perpendicular height. When we say perpendicular height, we are referring to this 12 cm. So multiply by 12, you get approximately 744. Sabrina, okay? Next one is for the volume. The volume of the prism. Once you have the, we don't need all this. Once you have the cross-sectional area, 10 minus 9 pi. 10 minus 9 pi. We're going to multiply by 12 to get approximately 981 cubic centimeters. That's the volume. So part B, with the volume of the prism, they actually melted it down, melted, and it became a cylindrical solid. I want you to highlight this portion, melted and recast. You need to write some notes for yourself. This means that volume remains same. Okay, so if you have a bottle of mineral water of 500 ml, you put it in the freezer. When you take it out as a block of ice, it is still 500 ml, approximately, because ice will expand in the freezer, right? Not a very good example, but when it melts again, then it becomes 500 ml again. So here, forming of equation, form equation with an unknown radius, R for radius. So if you do not form this equation, probably what you're working will look like, your working will look like this. If you do not form equation, you'll be writing things like 981 divided by 10, 98.1. Then you do things like 98.1 divided by pi equals to 31.226, then square root 31.226, you get 5.588. Then you round it off to become 5.59 cm. Then you talk to your friends who always get A1 for maths. Hey, what do you get for radius? 5.59. Wow, happy. Then when I see this, I give you 0 because I don't know what you're doing. Okay? No, hey, how many times to say already? No answer mark without working mark. Must show working mark. Must show working to get a work method mark. Then you can get a final mark. Too bad. Okay, so the rest will be uploaded online. I will now distribute the next set of work. Yeah, we've got quite a number of actually right now it's just revision, right? So you should be able to autopilot. Like DSLE, you know? Now DSLE towards the exam, you just keep doing revision by yourself, lecture answer by yourself. Yes. Okay, please do this. The answers again will be uploaded on the Google Classroom. Is there? Hey, go, take it fast. Go. Yes. This question.